Well, good morning, everyone. Definitely had some snow overnight at some of the higher elevation areas. Down in the main canyon, it was just rain. And up over here, there's probably about 2 inches, maybe 3 inches of snow in areas. And typically, I go into these days with some sort of plan as far as what it is I want to try to photograph. But honestly, I have no clue. It's going to be cloudy for a good chunk of the day. And whenever you have snow on the ground, there's zero chance of reflected light. Just because there's so much snow just bouncing light around, even if there was, sunny conditions overhead, you're still not going to get any reflected light. So with reflected light off the table, I got to look for something that has some sort of color that stands out from the rest of the snow. And when I was wandering around yesterday, I found some areas that had some maples that still had some colorful leaves on them. So I'm wondering if I can find some of those with some snow on it perhaps and get some color contrast. But I think I'm going to spend some time just wandering around today and to see if anything catches my eye, because it's absolutely beautiful here. But also I feel a little lost from the standpoint of I have no clue what to put in my camera. But I know if I wander around, I'll find something. But it's absolutely beautiful here. Zion in the snow. I love it. Well, I'm happy to say I exposed my first few sheets of film on this trip. I was wandering through the washes, just looking for anything that caught my eye. And one of the things I was looking for was a maple tree that still had some fall leaves that was covered in a little bit of snow. And I came around the bend here and that's exactly what I saw. So I went back to my truck, grabbed my camera, and then set up 2 compositions with my 450 lens, which is kind of a moderately long lens. And one of the compositions shows just the sweeping branches on the right side of kind of where the trunk is there. And the other one is more towards the middle of the trunk. But I exposed 1 sheet of Velvia and 1 sheet of Provia on each composition. And I also exposed a sheet of Kodak Ektar color negative film. To meter the scene, I have a gray card. I spot metered off the gray card and then checked out the scene. And it was putting the snow at somewhere between 2.5 stops brighter than neutral towards 3 stops brighter than neutral, which I think should give me a pretty decent exposure on the scene. So we'll see how that all works out. But very, very happy to expose some film. The skies right now are mostly cloudy, but I think this light is going to stick around for a while. It's actually pretty decent light right now. Just a soft, even light. And we'll see if the snow sticks around too. I'm actually surprised it's lasted this long, but still looking really nice there. So get the camera packed up. I'm going to head further down the wash and see if I can find anything else to put my camera at. Well, I sure am glad I found that scene, and it feels really good to expose some film, because once I start getting several days in a trip and I haven't taken any photos yet, I start to wonder why I'm even here. But the sun is actually coming out now. Clouds are going away, at least for now. So I think my plan is going to be to head down to the main canyon. They didn't get any snow last night, they just got rain. But I did find some interesting areas with some grass and some leaves and stuff like that, so let's see if I can find a composition over there to work with. Maybe some raindrops on it or something along those lines. But feels great to expose some film. Now, it's time for lunch. Well, it's now the sort of mid-late afternoon, and I went down to the main canyon to check things out, and there's one scene with some grass and some leaves and stuff, but I couldn't quite find a composition that worked, and there wasn't any fresh water on it anymore from the overnight rain, so it was okay, but it might get better at some point. I came back over here to high elevation areas. I'm really happy to see big pools of water here, because this is what you want to have when it comes to these really cool ice patterns. Because overnight the surface will freeze, then the water will slowly drain into the sand, and you have these hanging shelves of ice that have these really cool patterns. So really happy to see that. And this is something where I don't have to have reflected light to shoot it. All I gotta do is have some sort of diffused light, whether it's overcast or reflected light would be fine too, but pretty happy to find this. And as I'm out scouting today, I have my A7R4 Sony with my 24-70 and my 100-400 in my backpack. So if I see anything that's worth shooting, I have the ability to shoot it. I'm even thinking tomorrow, depending on what I find here with all this ice, maybe I'll just go out with the Sony for the day and see what I can find. But this place changes so fast. This area's all covered in snow this morning. So I spent quite a bit of time wandering through the washes. And I found there's probably about 12 or so puddles of water, some of which are actually quite deep. And so the plan for tomorrow is to check on those and see if any interesting ice develops overnight. I'm not really expecting anything amazing. Usually it takes several days of thawing and refreezing in order to get some of the best patterns, but at least it'll give me a chance to check on something in the morning. The skies are quite beautiful now. Blue skies, some high clouds up there. Really, really beautiful. And it's been a very interesting day, that's for sure. But now it's time to head back to camp, make myself some dinner, and rest a little bit. I want to thank everyone for watching. I'll see you around next time.
It sure felt great to expose the film that morning. I photographed the snowy maple with both Fuji Velvia 50 and Provia 100F. Much as I expected, the color and contrast were much better with Provia. My exposure on the first composition was perfect, but the upper right corner leaves something to be desired. My plan was to crop this area out, but thankfully, the other composition was better. I love the movement of the second photograph and how the tree fills the frame. I've always wanted to photograph fall color with a fresh dusting of snow, but I never knew that would happen on a winter trip. This past fall, these leaves were as dry as parchment, and their color was muted. Although it was a disappointment at the time, the leaves remained on the tree, delivering the subtle warmth this photo needed. Thanks as always for watching. We'll see you around next time. If you enjoy this ad-free and clickbait-free content and want to help me live my dream, a voluntary contribution of just $24 a year helps keep my gas tank full and my film freezer stocked. For more information on how to support me and my work, please visit the donation section of my website at benhorn.com/donate. I also have prints in my portfolio box set available on my website. You can find a direct link down below in the show notes. Thanks in advance for your support.